You're listening to The Kylo Show, the podcast where we talk about how to keep your love on no matter what and why whole healthy families are going to save the world. And it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to The Kylo Show. We're excited to be here and we're continuing with our guest that we had last week, which happens to be, in my opinion,
some guy you're sleeping with.
Totally some guy I'm sleeping with. I've been sleeping with him for a long time, too.
It's true.
I don't disagree. That's probably a better way to lead in.
Lover.
There we go. That's better.
The man I chose and continue to choose over and over again.
Yes.
Ben Serple is with us today.
It's great to be back. I was thinking I get to sit at a table with two of my favorite people. And tell someone else about it. It's awesome.
And talk about our marriage
There you
and
go.
our lives. It's what we do.
Pretty common these days.
It's what we do.
It is what we do. We were talking to somebody last night just about our kids, and one of them's going to pursue. She's getting closer to graduation and college and this and that. And I said, I don't know what she's going to do yet. She's trying to figure that out, and I just started kind of laughing to myself, thinking about how I didn't go to school. I had plans to go to school, but I didn't go to school. I started making babies with you.
You started school and then
You know how to read.
I do. Thanks. I do know how to read. I talk good too sometimes, but
college.
I didn't go to
what you
college.
meant.
Sorry,
there we
I
go.
didn't go to college. But you two did.
You know your colors. Come on now.
For goodness sakes, you two.
I'm gonna drink my water.
Yeah, it's gonna adapt right now. If you weren't listening to the
So I
vlog.
didn't say something I shouldn't say. That's what I'm doing. I'm protecting you and
Yeah.
myself.
Oh, good. But it was just funny to think about how much I feel like I've studied outside of not going, and I don't have a degree in something. But I became a study of people, and that's been what my life produced, is my desire to help people understand themselves, understand their relationships, and yes, of course, you can go to a university or college and continue that, but I did it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like I went to school with the two of you in some way. I watched from afar, and you brought different kinds of experiences into our life as you were in social work and your exposure there and learning. And with you, we talked through so many different papers that you wrote, which I'm sure Mom experienced some of what I experienced with Ben, because she didn't go to college as well. But
Yeah, and I think back on my university training, and I couldn't really tell you what I learned as much as I learned how to learn. And the rest of it's just on the job training, which you guys have both had decades of on the job training, and that eventually makes you an expert. You do something long enough, you are now out ahead of the pack, saying, watch out for that hole. And here's the secret button on that door. And you're like, okay, well, thank you. So it's kind of like life's like a big video game at some level. You're like, I'm writing cheat codes down for you, and here you go.
sure. So I just thinking about all the studying that we've done.
I actually remember the conversation, one of the many that really got me moving towards school. I was frustrated about where I was in life and whining to Danny one night, coming home from church, I think. But you talked about, I might get it wrong, but you said if someone does something for an hour a day or an hour a week for 1 year, they'll stand out. If they do that same thing for 5 years, they'll be an expert.
That's right.
Did I get close?
Yep.
You said that to me, and
Somebody told me that.
sure.
You read
Well,
it somewhere.
it's yours now.
Yeah.
It's mine now, but
Okay. There you go.
but it set me up like, I'm not that focused right now on where I want to be in 5 years. And so it really set me up to begin to do something with more purpose and more intentionality. So for me, it was school. For someone else, it's reading books and get around the right people. But
I think John Maxwell said something like that, and then Malcolm Gladwell put it in his Outliers book, where he said he's talking about the 10,000 hours.
Yep.
You're just practicing something
exactly.
so much so that when the attention is pointed at you, you're ready for your moment. You're ready for the Ed Sullivan Show, for the Beatles. Like they had practiced in Liverpool and bars and lounges and whatever for all that time, and then ta-da, ready, go. I love you, yeah, yeah. You're like, okay, that.
I wasn't
Keep
there
singing.
for that one.
I mean, that just explodes because you've put in the time, you've put in the reps, and we say that all the time about getting your reps in.
Mm-hmm.
So all the different scenarios in ministry, especially both of you being in front of somebody, leading them through what you've been through, and then just watching them, understanding people, opening up the right doors for them, and pretty soon they find themselves in a revelation, in an understanding that they didn't have prior to crossing paths with you.
Mm-hmm. A big thing, you've coined this phrase is truthing. We're truthing each other as a more recent term. It's new, I think, this year. I've heard you say it a lot more like that than ever before. But that's what we had to master was not being so afraid of each other that we couldn't tell the truth. So first we had to figure out how to be connected, how to understand, how to stay connected, and then in being connected, choosing to tell the truth even though I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing in marriages that are difficult, as I'm hoping you just read my mind and find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I don't know how many times there's this assumption that you can read my mind, and you would know what I needed, and you would know.
Yeah, marriage is a big Easter egg hunt.
We were just talking about Easter.
If you loved me, you'd find the egg that I hid
Really well.
in a 12-foot hole.
With cement. Good luck.
Yeah.
And I've camouflaged to look like the grass in the front yard. It is a skill, though, to develop telling the truth in your relationships. It takes practice, but also takes value for showing up as yourself and being a powerful person. I think that's I think of that Kylo 5 the loudest, I guess, is I'm going to be powerful and tell you the truth regardless of what you're going to do, because I need this. I need to be able to feel like I'm bringing this to the relationship.
Yeah. And, if we go through the 5 again, it's that powerful piece really has a lot to do with it's my responsibility.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's my responsibility to show you me, which immediately activates the next stage, which is I'm scared. I'm so scared you're going to kill me.
Yeah.
I'm so scared that if you see me, I'll be vulnerable to destruction, rejection, reduction of some sort, or manipulation. I'm so afraid if you see me, what you're going to do with that information. Mm-hmm. So I hide it. Yeah. I hide it, and then I try to manipulate you with pouting or with anger or some other concoction.
Bit of both.
I was going to say some other cocktail, but I am trying to get my needs met without telling you what they are. Yeah. And that's where, if my goal with you is connection, then I have to treat you with the respect in our communication that leads you to be able to serve me effectively in the relationship, and powerfully and honestly. And this is where truth-telling comes in, is that if I'll courageously set the truth out there, the truth will set us free. I mean, it's true. We because now I see it. Oh, there's the egg. You didn't just go, you're getting warmer. You said, it's right here. Yep. Let me hand you the egg. Yep. Like, oh, okay. And now I have the need. Now I'm clear about it. The reason I'm talking about it all the time is in my consulting work, what I discover working with powerful executive teams is these teams are bad at this.
Mm-hmm.
They're bad at it because they've experienced things previous where people didn't handle it well. And I would say it's because they don't have a culture of searching for truth, welcoming truth, hosting truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to marriages. I'm discovering it everywhere I go. Like, okay, we get to this one spot here. Are we going to tell each other the truth? And people go, I'll let you do it.
Not it.
I'll just wait for you to say something.
You go first, and I'll
You know, we
decide.
got that super frustrated person on our team. He's going to say something. It'll get the ball rolling here. Maybe I'll come in and finesse it at the end there, but I'll let him take the hits. You know, and it is a dynamic of a group of human beings agitating towards truth, agitating towards freedom, but not really understanding that if we don't develop clear paths to it, then we'll create dysfunction around it.
One of the things that is gaining more clarity for me lately, and I keep finding myself saying it, especially when I'm talking to husbands, because they're the ones that come and find me and ask questions, and really from our story, is that when the wife doesn't feel protected, which feels like a common experience that we hear about, the wife doesn't feel protected by the husband. One of the pieces missing is the husband is not being showing what's happening inside to the wife and bringing it to the outside. And this wild thing doesn't make sense in my head still when I say it out loud, but she actually feels protected when you show her what's happening inside of you. That this experience happens where she goes, oh my gosh, okay, I can see you now. And it can be scary, and it does require some self-control on both parts, but the desire to feel protected, part of that equation is show me what's happening inside of you.
The development of trust in our relationships is the exchange of truth. And I somehow am frustrated that you don't trust me, that you don't trust me, but I don't truth you.
Yep. Right.
Which is what you're saying.
Right.
Like the guy is, or either one.
Sure.
You know,
Both ways.
we take turns lying, and you know, and it's. I'm trying to protect myself from you, and then I'm frustrated that you don't trust me. Like, well, wait a second. You're protecting yourself from me. Of course, you don't trust me. You don't truth me. So again and again, I'm trying to communicate that when I say things like I don't trust you, really what you're saying is I won't truth you. And the ongoing practice of truthing each other is how we begin to walk in the light together. We begin to see each other. We begin to operate in a vulnerability that allows us to make the right adjustments. And it's the difference between golfing in the day and golfing at night. You know, I mean,
do you golf at night? Is
I
that a
don't
thing?
golf. I don't golf.
He's got to try now.
Both times I golfed, I was terrible. You know, I'm not a golfer, but I understand that you need to see the ball. You need to see where you're hitting it. You need to know where it landed. You need to go get it. You need your next shot. Golfing at night is, you know, golfing in the dark, let me say, because some people say, well, our golf course has lights on it. Okay, stop talking. Golfing in the dark is what a lot of folks end up doing in their marriage is like, okay, hey, I hit the ball to you. Well, where'd it go? I don't know. I have no idea.
I turned the lights off because I was scared.
Yeah, I didn't even turn the lights on. You know, I just hit the ball. I heard it hit.
Yeah, the back of my head.
And when you say, you know, the guy's not showing what he needs or he's not, it's often because he doesn't know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know how he's doing, how he's feeling, what he needs.
Yeah.
So he hasn't done that work.
Yeah.
so often we're trying to figure out, okay, what do I got to do to get you to calm down? What do I got to do to get you to be happy? What do I got to do to get sex? What do I got to do? And that's manipulation. When really what I need to do is I need to learn about me well enough to show me, to truth you with me, so that you can then step into the light and do the same. And when I see you and I respond to you, this is where trust starts to develop, is you took good care of what I showed you. But I showed you.
And this is where you always are asking, the question, what do you need? And husbands or wives that say, I don't know, they haven't done the work. One good question to follow up with is, what does you need to feel? That is a little easier to find sometimes. And we love the feeling wheel that you can get on Google or any other
4
search.
million come up when you search it.
Seriously, it's not hard. But you have to keep developing this skill. You can't just default to, what do I need to feel? Like that's the baby step work. It's not, we want you to become a graduate of this, of where, I was having an exchange with Lainey, and I'm starting to talk at her, and I have to stop myself and go, okay, what do I need? I need this. So I can adjust and give good information rather than just talking at her. The other thing with us is, one thing that I know that happens in your needs, because again, we talked about this last time, but our different personalities, louder, I have more needs, they're on the table, you trying to remember how valuable your needs are. Sometimes you bring a need to me when you're at like a level 3.
-2.
Or 0.
Yeah.
And so if I have had a crazy day or it's been a hard day and I can't respond immediately to meet that need, then you drop down to the negative, and then we have a disconnect. And that's probably one of the hardest things for me is, learning to come to each other when we're at a 7 with a need rather than we're at a 1. And that's practice in building up our connection, is that we're able to do that. But it's also being able to know what your needs are, be honest with yourself, tell the truth with me, and not be afraid of my big personality.
So let's unpack that a little bit. What's the difference between coming at a 7 and a 1?
It's for us, how we would unpack that, at least my understanding. If we're wrong on live television, no, please correct me. But it's Ben and I are connected. We feel super great. And he says, you know what we could do tonight? And I go, well, because all the kids are gone and nobody's home. I have a few ideas of what you're thinking when you say that. And
play Scrabble.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna play Scrabble.
Get some Scrabble going.
And we've had a great
different game
week. We've been super connected. We've both been pursuing each other. So, and I haven't had a crazy day, or I'm really tired, or say that I did. And he said, hey, I go, oh,
I had a good day.
I'm really exhausted. I love you. Can I give you a kiss and be done? And so his need expressed gets validated, but I say no. But it's not because I don't. It's because I've got me going on. But he can handle that no, because we're at a 7. And sure.
So 7 describes your level of connection.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what
I thought it was intensity over the request. I just kind of mentioned
7 intensity tonight, honey.
That's a different kind of
I thought it was like, I mentioned, I kind of mentioned it, and that's a 1. And instead of, are you ever going to listen to me? That's,
No, not that.
Okay.
It is the connection level. So that's when I love to be able to exchange needs, is when we can handle, I love you, but I can't at this moment. Or can tomorrow. And that message is received, where if he comes to me at a 2 and he asks me that need.
So that we're nearly disconnected.
That's hard for me. especially because I feel like I can't say no because then I'm choosing disconnect, which I don't like that feeling as that D. That's not fun for
Feels
me.
like losing.
It totally feels like losing. So then I have to, how this normally goes is in my head, I'm working myself up to giving a yes because I'm angry at both of us, which is how this.
It's another way of saying angry in general. Yes.
But I'm not just angry at you. I'm angry at both of us because I feel like I'm losing.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of our early years of marriage was waiting till we were at a 2. So if I said no, because, I had a baby, I didn't sleep well or whatever, then he was 0 or negative. And
rejected.
Yes.
He's rejected.
And it just starts to cycle over. See? Told you.
Right. And then he had to bring up the courage and we had to get reconnected to be at a 2 again. So I think that's the being able to tell the truth, the practice of that, being able to bring that sooner than at a 2, but at a 7.
I think part of the journey for me too, which the rejection fear, all the stuff you're describing is true. I mean, the 2
so
to the
I
7,
didn't get it wrong.
you did great on live TV or what we're calling this.
Yeah, ABC Live. That's us.
You're here and Brittany telling the truth.
The wide world of sports.
But I think the thing for me that I had to navigate is from a young age, I picked up this idea somewhere, and I often attribute it to working in the church. I wasn't paid. I was a teenager, but I was always a leader in some way. I'm sure it came from my home too. But this idea that I have to be okay. And I picked that up somewhere where this followed me into my adulthood, into my marriage, and my parenting. That I have to be okay, which means I actually cannot share my bad days. It's deeper than that, but that was the mindset that often I would lead with. And so on a really bad day or a really big mistake, I just got to keep that thing inside and not share it with you because I have to be okay. Because I'm a leader, or I'm a husband now, or I'm a father now, or I'm expected to be something by someone out there, and so I have to be okay. And that thing just crippled me for years. It was no fun.
I think you and I both experienced growing up as the hero child.
Yes.
And the hero child is broadcasting to the planet that everything in our family is wonderful. And so that job of being super capable of high levels of denial is a skill.
You make it sound so different. He's truthing us right now.
Yeah, and I think that we wear it as a badge forever.
Yep.
That nothing bothers me, nothing gets me down. I can spin anything to be happy, and I can assume any task, and I can absorb any offense or anything tragic. I can find a way to make a purse out of a sow's ear. I'll tell you what. Now, that whole deal is the practice of lying.
Yep.
Denial it works.
Yep.
That's the problem with it. Denial totally works. But what it doesn't build is it doesn't build respect because I'm never seen. I hide myself, I hide my needs, and there's nothing to respect about me. As a matter of fact, I'm just like those, I don't know if they still have them, but Dr. Scholl's used to have these cutouts that you put in your shoes, and it absorbs stink because it's made out of charcoal. Well, we're just like lumps of charcoal walking around in relationships, just absorbing other people's stench.
Yep.
Like, that's why I'm here. I'm here to just make it not so smelly in here. And everybody keep doing your wacko crazy. And you know what you do with those soul inserts? You use them up and then you throw them in the trash. And that's how you end up experiencing so much in relationship is you feel unseen. These people make, great church worker fodder you just kind of like go through them like, hey, we're here to change the world. We're here to do this, that, and other thing. And these people don't ever speak up, and they just burn out, or they just get used up, or, hey, I was 20 years invisible in this thing. And the people that had microphones and wrote books and did conferences, everybody thinks they're the ones that did it. And these people especially, these are your S's and your C's in particular, these are the people that need to feel appreciated. And so they've got to know that about themselves, so that you, in a hard place, in a hard conversation. I was just with a group of leaders, and this came out, we did an exercise, and that in that exercise, everybody's scared to death of this exercise because it's going to put on display truth. And I'm just walking through the house, clicking lights on, click, 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 and everybody's like, oh,
don't look at my room.
Oh my gosh, I don't have any makeup on. I know. And it exposed that one of their key people was being overlooked, unappreciated. And I saw it when it happened, and I just sat there. And I kept talking about truth telling. I kept telling, showing how, and finally, towards the end, this high S says, I just want to say something. I feel hurt that I'm not seen. And she goes on and on and on. And I said, well, what do you need? She goes, I don't know. And eventually she said, I need to feel appreciated. And the whole room was just like, oh my gosh, we are evil. We are evil. We have somehow, some way overlooked you because you are not demanding. You are low maintenance. You are an army Jeep. You have the same oil in you that came with you when you were rolled off the factory 3 wars ago. Oh my gosh, we didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, low maintenance people have a hard time telling the truth.
Yeah.
And it blows the high maintenance people away. Like, how in the world have you felt like this whole time and never told me?
Why would you never say anything?
How'd you do that? That's a superpower. It's like, no, it's not a superpower.
It's lying.
Yeah, it's totally lying. And I lied because I was scared. Yeah. I didn't lie because I was virtuous.
And that's what we did a lot of.
We did that for a while, and it took some courage. It's the word we keep using, but I think the big one for me was there's lots of men and women that deal with this in marriage, but I had some sexual struggles that didn't include you, and it goes beyond that, and there's lots more happening on the inside, but it was me getting to a point where I could let you in beyond even the act or what I looked at or what happened, and get to, there is something happening inside of me that I'm trying to solve a problem that I need your help with.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get there. And it's a really scary, hard place to get to. But to let someone past all that stuff and go, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
I don't like myself at this point. I'm having a hard time with me. I'm pretty sure you're mad at me. But can we get past that and get to I've messed clean up, but can we get to there's a problem that I need help with, and I don't have a solution yet. This has been my solution for a while. I need a new solution. So it was those moments for me that really kind of accelerated my practice in truth telling. Like, I want to live open with this woman. I want this woman to see me.
Right.
And when she cannot see me, I'm responsible for that. That's because I didn't let her see me. And I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, Danny said something like, it was one of those moments. I was having a hard time. I came and found you, and I sound like I'm telling myself right now, like, look at me. But what you said is, you make a mistake, you make a poor decision, but your integrity won't let you stay there. And I think there was, I could probably look at that 2 different ways, but for me, it really was the thing that I don't want to stay hidden. I have been hiding, and I have been doing that. But there's this thing inside of me that I do want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do want to do the right thing.
right.
I do want to tell the truth.
Yes.
I do want my wife to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm doing is taking me down a rabbit hole of a place I do not want to live.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what comes naturally.
Yep.
You know, and that's, I think, for a lot of people, this vulnerability of telling the truth takes them down this place.
Yep.
And whether it is I'm angry and intimidating and I'm pushing people away and I make people regret that they ever told me the truth, you know, and then I just punish them and I distort what they said and I make it their problem and I blame and manipulate. I mean, there's that side of it as much as there's this other side we've been talking about. Yeah. And they usually are on the same team. They're usually married to each other. They're usually, you know, in the same family. You're like, yeah, that's why we've got to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because I got to get me to show up, but I also have to be able to stand there while you show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
and
true.
that, I think that was your reference to just that season of not hiding and showing me. I mean, the first couple rounds of showing me, I know I didn't do so well because I was scared,
Mm-hmm.
hurt, and I couldn't figure out how this was about your needs as much as it was like, what? It was
quite an offense.
more in the throes
Offended.
of young family days and just kind of us still figuring us out. But the more, every time it was brought to the light and I remember you got some horrible advice. I called it horrible advice to not tell me, just to tell other men in your life, but to not tell me. I was like, I don't know who that person's married to, but you better tell me. I'm the first person you're supposed to. So, and which also was a good input to me of I had to figure out how to be a safe place for that really hard information, which is hard when anger, I'm really good at, remember this, and control and being right, that hits all those buttons. So, as we've grown and, how it changed in my response to you was I was able to figure out that it wasn't always about you didn't desire me, you didn't want me, you didn't, think I was beautiful or any of those things. It was less that. That was the first truth I ran into. It was like, that's what I believe, which was what was so painful. But as we both got better at this, it became more of being able to find, oh man, that's a bummer that you've been hiding your needs from me and not telling the truth. And this is like whattever. Like it just feels like it still needs to be dealt with, but it's not the bigger thing that we're looking at.
Yep.
To find, okay, what's the truth that's missing? What is the thing that you're needing? And, it was still, what are you going to do, all those things? But I feel like the exchange between the two of us, we weren't distracted by the thing. I feel like the enemy's always trying to get you to look at, like, look at this. It's when Aladdin goes into the Cave of Wonders, it's the jewel that the monkey's like, obsess over this thing. I'm like, no, that's not what we need to be looking at. We're looking for something that's, hidden in this big temptation island. And we're looking for the exchange of, oh, you're afraid of me. Mm-hmm. Oh, you are hurt by me. Okay, well, I need to work on my part. You need to work on your part. Yeah. And I need to keep being a safe place so you'll keep telling me the truth, just by my loud personality and all the scary that can go with it. I was probably like the tiger in the sand. Ha ha ha. Eat you, not let you out of this prison with my anger. So
I think porn and sexual sin and sexual needs are so intimidating and emotionally charged that it's like a setup. It's like, okay, you know what? You can't talk about things that put your design on display. You're so interested. This is when the enemy comes in, he comes in like a flood, right? There's this overwhelming, powerless sense that you have when two people tell the truth and they actually learn something. Like that's what I'm afraid of telling you is something that is going to present something that I've been terrorized to tell you, to show you, to let anybody see about my life. Yeah. And so when that fear rushes in like that and overwhelms our circuits, we just feel washed downstream. We're just like, oh my gosh, this is going to take forever to fix this. I'll never do that again. That was the worst thing we ever did. Like, yeah, but eventually what happens is you learn about you, both what you need to communicate and then what you need to do when you hear things, that it shortens that ride downstream. And eventually you're like a boulder in the middle of the river. Like, you know what? I can handle the truth. Yeah. And this prepares you to deal with your children. Because your children got some truth for you that you did not see coming. You're like, oh my gosh, you did what? And you're like, or you need what? Or you're experiencing what? And it never goes the skill, the character, the welcoming of dealing with the truth makes you a standout in relationships. These are the best people to have around you, the people you can go to and say, truth, I got some truth. I just need to hear me say the truth. Thank you for being somebody who can handle it. And those are your bulletproof relationships where you can just rely on each other.
I was gonna say, I think the thing I keep thinking about as you're talking is me taking good care of myself feels so important. Like the porn, the sexual stuff, the gambling, whatever it could be that we decide to use to try and solve a problem.
Sugar,
all totally. That is. We had a conversation recently. I was meeting with someone, and essentially, I've chosen to comfort myself with this thing in front of me. I'm trying to comfort myself and solve this problem, so I don't have to tell anyone. If I can fix it here and get some comfort, then we're good, right? It's fixed. Till I come out of that water, so to say, and go, oh my gosh, it's still there. But I think that for me, and a big part of the turning point and maturity was doing a good job with me, taking good care of myself so I can bring the truth to Brittany and not need her to give me something that isn't hers to give me. Not need her to comfort an area that's for the Holy Spirit to do, because he's the comforter. So it's just that practice for me that is ongoing. It's not like I've arrived, I promise, but it's this ongoing practice that, okay, I need to feel comforted right now. I need to feel soothed or something. What am I actually needing? And then what's the Holy Spirit's job and what's Brittany's job?
Yeah, it is a mystery that we will turn to false comforters rather than tell the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, the truth. We can't even start there. We can't even start with telling the Holy Spirit, the safest place in the galaxy, whatever it's the biggest. I don't think galaxy is bigger than universe, but whatever the biggest word there is, eternity. The safest place in eternity is the Spirit of truth, who longs for me to step into the light and be seen, and say, here, I need to be healed in my heart. I feel wounded. I feel lonely. I feel cut off. I need comfort. To build. It's because it's a habit, right? I've created this habit of doing this thing. So I need a donut. I need a donut right now. You know what's going to make me feel better? Is some food. Some food. No, I'm fine. No, I'm good. I just need a little cocaine, just a little cocaine right now. And this will get, you know what I need? And I begin to literally build into my character around comfort this false comforter. Instead of catching it as soon as I have the opportunity to repent, say, Lord, I am trading you for this, and it seems like a struggle to turn to you because I have this highway, this 6-lane highway of going to donuts. Yeah.
I think about with our exchange once, we started telling the truth, there were moments where it was more successful than others. And I think a piece that contributed to that was in the goal of the communication, it wasn't that I was trying to seek agreement. That it was really to understand. And I think that's what changed the dynamic of, even your approach to me and telling the truth, and my response to those hard moments is I wasn't having to agree with something. I was really trying to understand what was going on. And that, I think, helped change my viewpoint of that struggle. And even when we have telling the truth conversations all the time, is we just almost always have this, secret agreement now that this conversation is to find understanding. And if it's not going that way, one of us usually says, what's the goal of this conversation? When I say one of us, mostly you. You usually say this. You always say, first one to humble themselves win. I just say, Ben wins all the time on this.
All the time, isn't true.
Most of the time, you win there. But that's, this exchange of telling the truth and what it leads to in our marriage. We are living in the fruit of practicing this for years. We are living in the fruit of practicing the courage to say, okay, I'm gonna lean in to understand what you're saying, even though I feel like you're trying to convince me that I am awful or I'm wrong or I'm scary. Okay, what is it? This is a feedback, but all of these tools that we've been talking about, we've been able to put them to practice, and the fruit of what we're living in our relationship that we enjoy. And we work together, we live together, we're best friends. And there's everything that we do. The first option is always each other. And that's the desired option. It's not, well, I don't have anyone else. It's my first choice. And I think that's the goal of what I want everyone to experience in marriage is I want everyone to feel like their first choice is their spouse. And that you get to, have this adventure together, and it gets to be, 50, 60, 70. I don't know how long we could possibly get. Depends on how long
we started young.
We started really young. So we got...
You could easily squeeze out 50.
Yeah. So, all of this, we've been talking about marriage stuff, and, we do want to invite you to the Kylo Marriage Workshop that we have coming up in San Diego, May 20th and 21st. We're going to be bringing a bunch of this stuff to the table. It's, all 4 of us are coming. Mom's not here, but she's here in spirit. And she'll be there at the event, which will be really fun to have the ladies talking and the fellas. So that should be exciting. But really, if marriage is, whether you're doing great and you want to do better and, keep growing, I would invite you. Or if you're struggling, if there's some pain, if there's some disconnect, I think there's something for everyone here that's going to increase your experience of marriage. So again, I would invite you to come to that. So you want to go to kylomarriageworkshop.com to register. Again, San Diego, and it's a beautiful place to visit. So make a whole week out of it if you want to. Take a honeymoon, another honeymoon, a baby moon, an afternoon. I don't know what they call it after.
Moon.
Yeah, something.
An afternoon.
Afternoon, exactly. So come visit us in San Diego. That's May 20th and 21st. But yeah.
And this is our ongoing effort
Yeah,
to create whole, healthy families that are going to save the world.
that's it.
know.
It starts in marriage so much is the foundation of what you're going to build in your family is from that. So thanks for joining us, Ben.
So good to be here.
Yeah. I love you.
guys. I love you too.
All right. We'll see you later.
Thanks for listening. Never miss an episode of The Kylo Show by subscribing to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch us on the Loving on Purpose YouTube channel. Don't forget to submit your questions and testimonies to thekyloshow.com. The Kylo Show is produced by Ali Armerding, co-produced by Ashley Beck and Anna Hill, sound engineered and edited by Taylor Silk, and show promoter Christian Zamora. Don't forget, whole healthy families gonna save the world.